Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my tarot channel. Totally unplanned, but I do have another reading for today. Some days I have days where I just get like a bunch of like messages, I guess that because I think it also has to do with rest. I got like a really good sleep. Anyway, and I've just sort of been a little bit open the last couple of days. Which also had to do with letting myself take 2 days off. But I really truly enjoy doing readings also, so it's like just a passion of mine. So, and if I don't post for a while, if you have looked at this history of the channel, there's like years that I didn't post, or also like sometimes just like 6 months, or like, so I like it's very sporadic. But lately I've been posting a lot more frequently because, as I have said in another reading, I feel that I've just been through a lot of stuff within the past couple years that I want to share the wisdom and experience of, and my sort of skills have expanded, my sensitivity, my psychic sensibility has increased, and I just feel like not sharing would be bad, not just for me but for others, because I want to like share that gift with the world, because I feel like we have to do that. I'm forgetting the term. There's a term in Judaism about trying to make the world right again. It's about like basically doing charity, or like good, or acts of like good faith, or like good deeds. And it's a very specific term. But it's like, it's kind of like that movie Pay It Forward with Haley Joel Osment. Okay, so there's a couple specific themes that I got in the last however long since I woke up today, and then I'm gonna really try to tune off for hopefully maybe 2 days, because usually I don't realize when it's happening, but if I get a bunch of messages and do a bunch of readings, I'm like so excited, and then I actually get like exhausted after, like maybe later in the day I'm like, whoa, because it took up so much. But it's okay, I kind of run hot like that. So, I mean, just like I am excitable, and I'll invest fully in something and then need a rest. That's just kind of how I roll. So I'm here for it. So the reading, I shared Bell Hooks today. If you know who that is, she is an amazing African-American intellectual woman with writer, and I think she's a teacher. She definitely has a doctorate. I don't know if she actually ever taught, but she's brilliant, and she talks about freedom of speech. And you know, there's a lot for me in my life, like about not just speaking up for myself, but I was looking at my midpoints in my birth chart, which if you ever want to do that, it's really an interesting different way to look at your challenges in life or things that come up. There's a show called Shrinking. It's about like a therapist that I love to watch that show. It's so real, but it's also funny. It's like a dramedy. And like, also my mom's a therapist and my grandmother was, so I think I relate to the daughter a lot. There's the Harrison Ford character, which is kind of funny that they make him say this, because it's like sort of akin to the Star Wars verbology or whatever, Star Wars lexicon. He talks about the field. So anything that comes up for you, like, is like what needs to be dealt with. Like recurring themes that keep like showing up in your life. It's like, hello, this needs to be addressed. Like the universe is being like, please deal with me. I guess that character is actually based after a real man who like who did have Parkinson's, and like helped famous people, which is a soft spot for me because my step grandpa had Parkinson's. But anyway, so the phrase that I love in that Bell Hooks reading is, she's asked, or if you want to watch the video, I posted it on my posts. It's from, it must be, looks like the late 80s, maybe early 90s. It's she's being interviewed by this actually really good interviewer, and he said like, what, so you like you're so obsessed with freedom of speech, what would you say if someone who was like saying really hateful stuff? And she said, like, I would say, if you're gonna like, and I love this, she's like, to quote gangster rap, I would say, if you're gonna come correct. I had several phases in my life where I was obsessed with rap. One being because I lived down the street from the grocery store at one point in Bed-Stuy where Biggie bagged groceries, and there's like this amazing mural there, so I like kind of was obsessed with his like story, and also just I love the rhythmic quality of rap. Like I know probably all the Tribe Called Quest songs and Digital Planets. It's just like soothing. No one I've ever talked to has like thought of it that way, but anyway, that's my opinion. So if you're gonna come correct is like the message today. I am gonna take my medication while I do this reading. I want to show you that I'm a person that has stuff going on while I do this reading. It's gonna take time because I want you to see people with alopecia. So this is my minoxidil that I take. I take it twice a day. I take 2. Anyway. So okay, I'm using the reading in a kind of silly way to speak up for people with alopecia, because a lot of my life, as I said, I have felt silenced, that my medical need is not a real medical issue, that that because I've had anxiety or depression, I'm like not mentally fit. Many things, just being a woman, being a smart woman, being like intellectual, which when people don't expect it because you're like also street smart, which people always pick up on me about me. Okay, I'm saying that like what Bell Hooks says is that we shouldn't think of like these broad categories as defining people. Like, yes, I'm a feminist, but I might not agree with all feminists on all issues. Okay, we're all individuals. So speaking freely, if you're gonna come correct. So she says in the YouTube reading, like, I would say it's about ethics. Like, you know, if you have something to say, you come with like the mind of the collective in mind, that you're speaking to people. You have to, if you're speaking to a large group, you have to speak sensitively and with awareness. And she talks about how tenuous that is, because you might say something that triggers those hot spots, but people who've been through trauma might disagree, which I love that, because it's so aware. And I don't think she studied therapy, but it sounds like she's done some amazing therapy like for herself in her life. And yeah, so there may be some issue in your life that's like really, you're like feeling silenced, or like you can't say what you want. People have like intimidated or threatened you, or like scared you, and it's like that's their stuff, you know. That's their fear. There's a lot of, especially if this is older people, a lot of older generations, people were silenced. People were told to shut the F up. As long as you're coming with a greater ideal in mind, that's not just for yourself, but is for other people to expand, then that's the main thing here. That's what activism is. So I'm gonna take my meds while we talk. I'm gonna keep saying the phrase, if you're gonna come correct. You know, Gabby Bernstein, who I have always been a huge fan of, she says a similar, she has a daily like mantra that she and her husband will, or maybe it's like weekly, I don't know. They'll like, or I love to read her books, so in one of her books she talks about that. They like pick, this is my thyroid because I have an underactive thyroid, and this is my buspirone for anxiety. So they have like, if you don't know, Hashimoto's often coincides parallel, or is comorbid with alopecia. Okay, so yeah, like there may be some issue that you have felt silenced about. You may be really intuitive like me, and daughter of water. It may be a new skill. Maybe you've been through some trauma, and actually physiologically, when we go through trauma, this is what people who don't understand psychics don't understand. first of all, you can be born genetically predisposed this way because you can have anxiety in the womb, but also if you had PTSD, like prenatal trauma. But also, it actually does something to your nervous system where you're able to pick up on stimulus much more easily, much more readily, and you're able to like it is because your nervous system is looking for threats because you've been through something that caused you to now think that way. So that's why a lot of healers come from wounding, and there is the archetype of Chiron, the wounded healer. I'm taking my iron or my ferrous sulfate which is like B12. I have to take it every day because I have wicked allergies, which co-aligns with alopecia, and as I haven't got to the asthma yet, we're gonna get there. Co-aligns with autoimmunity. Food allergies is also comorbid, and I cannot digest meat, so I have to inject I'm not gonna do that here, but I have to also inject B12, which is really fun. But I'm gonna take my B12. What I'm doing here is actually passive activism, which is the only activism that I ever have felt comfortable with in my life. I have a lot of Libra in my chart because I'm a Scorpio. I have Mars in Libra, Mercury in Libra. Anyway, so I'm in the 7th house. So I was reading this Gandhi quote today that said, this is my Illumia, which is what I take for it's a JAK inhibitor, which disrupts the sort of link that dysregulates my autoimmune system. So I have, it's not just that my immune system is overreactive, which a lot of people believe about alopecia. It's that my immune system is miswired. So this disrupts that miswiring, and it's why I have eyebrows. So I'm taking that. So okay. You have a new skill of this, like, you've been through some sort of traumatic experience. It's asking you to do passive resistance, and it's made you super aware of a lot of things, not only on the micro scale of like your nervous system picking up on like stuff, like maybe you're just like super aware of like the mood of the person next to you because like someone was threatening at one point, you know, or something, I don't know, maybe you've had, I don't want to put negative thoughts out there, but there's been something that made your safety felt unsafe. So sorry, that got me off track because it made me think of times that I felt unsafe. It's not funny, but okay, so this is my spironolactone, which I take because as a side effect of it is in theory supposed to help hair growth because it blocks testosterone, but also just like blocks some of the systems that can cause hair loss, but also like for specifically older women, because I'm 38, and so they just thought like let's throw that in there. Also, I get skin problems from the from the minoxidil, I believe, because it does stuff. Maybe it's the combo. Both of them do things to your pores and your skin, so it helps with that. So Gandhi, passive resistance. You were in a time. I'm being a little silly here because I'm fusing my own need to like show you what I go through with my health, because that's my activism. Is the alopecia is seen as like not a real disease, not something that like for example, a lot of insurances don't cover wigs. And I feel that you're going through something similar where you're like, you're not like angry or like violent, but you're like, this is not right, and you're like gonna exemplify something with what you do to be like, no, you know, you don't have to like starve yourself like Gandhi did, but there is the quote, every night when I go to sleep I die, when I awake I'm reborn. You have to be willing for rebirth to happen in your life and reincarnation. And the message is gonna leave me really quickly because I'm done with my meds. Actually, my inhaler is nearby. I can show you that as well. But yeah, I feel like I just want it to be that one card, the reading of the Daughter of Water reverse, that like you have, because water can be seen as communication also in the terms of spiritual communication. You have something being worked through you. So I was gonna say, it's not only the nervous system of other people and like the threats, like maybe also just like metacognition of like events that may happen, like which Jung calls synchronicity. That can happen with trauma too. Here's my inhaler. I'm gonna take my inhaler just for good measure. But I don't know where my other one is. There's also the bigger level of like the Princess and the Pea, but like for society as a whole, like what is wrong on a systemic level. I feel like those are some of the things that you're thinking about in your life, and you're being called to like take a stand here with your sensitivity. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day. Measure, I'm gonna show you my inhalers, which is the final piece of the puzzle. And then if I ever get to go to bed, I have to take my anxiety meds for bed, which is a different medication. Anyway, if you really want to know my life. So a lot of, maybe not a lot of, but many alopecians are also asthmatic. I had like super bad asthma as a kid and I was like hospitalized several times, a bunch of times, and had to see an allergist because I had wild allergies, which also points to just dysregulated immune system. But so I have to take this preventative inhaler every day, and if I don't take it, I can feel it out over the next couple weeks. A lot of people with autoimmunity are born with issues of like the linings of organs, to be honest. Like there's proof that people with autoimmunity are born with poor gut lining, and I was born with asthma. So anyway, just some activism here for my lifelong health issues that and then here's my emergency inhaler, which I don't really need it, but sometimes when I get excited like this after a reading, I do get like a little intense, and when I get intense I can hyperventilate without realizing. So just a little preventative puff. So that's my life and my medical life, and thanks so much for tuning in.